Everyone, a big thank you to Zippix for sponsoring today's video. Folks, I have been using nicotine products ever since I could remember. I started with smoking, did that for 6 years. I've been dipping pretty much ever since that. And recently I came across a brand called Zippix, which are nicotine-infused toothpicks, and they are amazing. They have 6 awesome flavors, 2 and 3 milligrams. My favorite right now is peppermint, watermelon, and mocha. And even if you don't use nicotine, they have ones for energy infused with B12. Guys, this stuff's the real deal. I love chewing on toothpicks in general, but not having a big lump in your lip from having a dip in or a cigarette, obviously that's a huge plus. So they're giving you 10% off when you use the code HDC. You must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. Folks, the Charlie Kirk case has been completely blown open again. I will say there are a lot of conspiracies out there that at this point are just getting wild. I got people sending me 150 different things every single day. People saying that it's an exploding mic, there's some dude from the crowd, or whatever the hell. And let me just start with this. There are mainly a couple of people with decent followings on X that are promoting these theories as if they are 100% true. And I know those people watch my videos, so I'm just gonna straight up say it. When you promote a theory as if it's 100% true, and then it's proven not to be true, you lose all of your credibility. People no longer listen to you. People no longer trust what you are saying. So for the people who are like, oh man, this is exactly what happened and his mic exploded here and it did this and it did that. It's cool to have a theory. It's cool to explore every option. In fact, I am a fan of doing that and I've explored a lot of them. But I just hope people are cautious, because saying stuff like, this is 100% what happened, you guys have to believe this, X, Y, and Z, you just come off like kind of an idiot. We're gonna go over a bombshell today as far as something that has completely blown this case wide open. And in order to do that, I need to backtrack and go through all of this stuff that has been put out by the FBI so we understand how big of a hole they're in right now. It is a huge gaping hole at this point. I don't know if that was the best way to say it, but it's bad. So Kash Patel comes out and he says that they have the guy in custody, that it took him 33 hours to get him, even though a sheriff went and got him to turn himself in, not the dad.
Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m. where, at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period.
Then we have Kash Patel saying that they found this 30-06 rifle in the woods. It was wrapped in a towel.
On September 11th was walk the entire crime scene, including the foots the suspect himself took. And what we learned was there was evidence, DNA evidence, that could be collected and had been collected, including a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop. Also, we went over to the scene in the wooded area where the firearm was discarded, and the firearm had a towel wrapped around it. It's important. I'll get back to that later. I even walked into the wooded area in the ravine, so I knew from my investigative experience what I could bring to the table and what decisions I needed to make. Report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
They found the DNA on the towel. Now, I want everybody to think about this for a second. Notice how he didn't say gun. They didn't find the DNA on the gun. They found it on the screwdriver on the top of the roof, and they found it on the towel. But he didn't mention anything about gun. Why does it matter if the DNA is on a fucking towel or a screwdriver? What matters is it on the gun? That's what matters. Like, I don't know if this is Kash Patel's first time, like, trying to solve a crime, but you fucking suck at all of this, dude. You are not good at it. Then we get into he was shot by a 30-06.
I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. This is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. So the FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon.
and that there was originally no autopsy report, and now there was an autopsy. And then we got into the fact that it did not sound very loud. If it was a 30-06, it would have blown everybody's eardrums out. The whole place being surrounded. And there was a lot of discussion about this gun. The text messages saying, oh man, I hope they don't find the gun. Oh man, it's my granddaddy's old gun. It's like an old relic, even though it's like a normal looking 30-06, nothing special about it. But I think it's interesting how initially it was reported that there was no autopsy, and then an autopsy came out. And then we had the statement from the TPUSA employee saying that Charlie's neck is like a man of steel. The surgeon talked to him. They found the bullet right under the skin. And on my podcast, I discussed this with Nate from Valhalla VFT, that a 30-06, there is no possible way that a human neck could stop that round. We're talking bigger than a lottery winner's chance. Like an act of God, but it's just so close to being impossible. It's not a realistic thought process. Now we get to the scary part, which all of us had assumed, especially the hunters out there. And Candace Owens just came out with this, and I'm confused by her reaction, to say the least. Okay, so that just confirms what we all thought.
Okay, and this is going to dispel a lot of theories that are out there, and I'm telling you this 100%. Charlie Kirk was shot from the front, and the bullet did not exit, and at least a fragment of the bullet was recovered from his neck. And I'm going to tell you exactly where it was recovered from. I have fact-checked this information from multiple sources now. I've actually been sitting on this for a little bit over a week. Right around here. So think about almost in line with your shoulder blade, right in the center. Now, why is that helpful? Because it gives us a bullet trajectory, okay? We went in here where you saw that, and it was stopped, and a fragment was pulled from, think right, if you're just touching your spine, in line with your shoulder blade. That leads us, obviously, to the part that he's maybe not being forthcoming about. They did not recover a bullet from a 30-06. They didn't recover a bullet from a 30-06. It just didn't happen, okay? If they had found a 30-06 bullet, Charlie's death certificate certainly would have reflected that. In suicide situations, as just one example, medical examiners.
It's a little bit of an odd reaction from Candace because the entire story that's been reported so far has been false at this point. Think about it. The FBI reported that it was this rifle. It couldn't have been that rifle. If it wasn't a 30-06 round, it couldn't have been that rifle. So who put it there? Did Tyler Robinson have two rifles? Did he just plant a random one that is super big and couldn't hide? Did he actually shoot him with something else? Did Tyler Robinson have accomplices and somebody planted that rifle there with his DNA on a towel and a screwdriver? I trust that Candace Owens has a verified source as far as the bullet being in his neck, but if it's not a 30-06 round, which everybody knew already, but now it's verified, who shot him? If the official story from the FBI is that Tyler Robinson shot him with the gun they discovered, which is a gun that shoots 30-06 rounds, that blows the entire story open. Then Candace puts out something saying that she is 100% sure that he was not shot from behind the back.
Definitively, that Charlie's shot did not come from behind. You take that or leave that. You can still go down that narrative. You can think that you saw that. I'm not saying that a shot wasn't fired from behind. I'm not saying that. Like I said, I've given you my theory. I think there's two shooters. The entry wound is what is on the front. The bullet did not exit. You are looking for a smaller gun altogether, which is how these operations have to work.
Okay, but I think we're asking the wrong question, right? He wasn't shot by a 30-06 round, but Tyler Robinson was apparently on this roof, so across from Charlie. So if Tyler shot him, it would have had to have been from the front. So if it wasn't a 30-06 round, where was he shot from? Okay, Candace is saying it's not from the back. What about the video we went over where we see a muzzle flash in the window? Once again, that is a very large entry wound. Once again, if that's not a 30-06 round, what are we talking? 300 blackout? Pistol round? Those are the questions that need to be asked. Those are the questions that are going to help solve this case. They should start looking for other people. Because let me just put it like this. Everybody knows that I work with attorneys on retainer. They've been a sponsor for a long time here. They're some of the best criminal defense lawyers, and they would rip this case apart at this point for Tyler Robinson for a simple reason. If you're telling me the weapon attached to him that has his DNA, that has everything on it, but it shoots rounds that Charlie was not shot with, that is the easiest case in the world to win. What are you going to tell a jury as a prosecutor? Well, yeah, we know he was on the roof and he shot him with this gun. Okay, prosecutor, what rounds does that gun shoot? Oh, 30-06? Okay, he wasn't shot with a 30-06. So, are we done here? I mean, at this point, what happens? The FBI is worried about some other crap right now, for sure. They think it's just in the bag. I don't know, but this better be figured out quick because I am tired of all the BS surrounding this.